Hello, this is Kate Jones here from Level 5. A little bit about understanding my community, which is St. Edmund Preparatory High School here in Brooklyn, New York. Here's our school building, and here's our school crest. A couple of things to keep in mind about our customs and traditions. We are a Catholic school, so we pride ourselves in being people for others. Most of our students are the children of Catholic school graduates, as well as, and those Catholic school graduates are native New Yorkers, as well as the children of Caribbean immigrants to whom education is extremely important. And we also have a small concentration of Russian immigrant students and Chinese students who are here to study. We are mostly middle-class community. Service is probably our greatest tradition, making sure that we are carrying on service and teaching the importance of service. And I'd be remiss to ignore our sports programs, which the students are very proud of and are very involved in. Change, for the most part, has been embraced by parents and is embraced by the community, though some teachers are hesitant, and I think that that's probably universal. A couple of our other traditions and customs are walkathon, which is one of our biggest visibility events. Senior events such as the baccalaureate mass and dinner, which is like a family dinner where the students talk about their experiences at St. Edmund, and it's really a beautiful night. The senior awards, where we honor those who have succeeded in academics, athletics, and service. Prom, just like every other prom. Our Eagle Fest is kind of like our homecoming. We don't have football, so we don't have an actual homecoming, but we do have this really great spirit event. IB Study Day is a day where the students use that to catch up on work. The golf outing and gala are major fundraising events, but have also become great spirit events and wonderful traditions for us. And a really nice tradition is the incoming freshman breakfast, where after students enroll to start their freshman year, we have a family breakfast style with them. So we kind of start with a family breakfast in the freshman breakfast, and we end with the baccalaureate mass and dinner, which is our family dinner goodbye. So our community, so Brooklyn is massive, we know that. Brooklyn is millions of people living here. Our community, though, Sheepshead Bay is not like all of Brooklyn, but we have a unique situation in our school that's going to be different from many of yours, just because we are pulling from all over Brooklyn. So the community that surrounds us is not necessarily the community that is coming to our school. So on my next slide, I'll have a map of Brooklyn that I can tell you a little bit about the communities that we are pulling from. Sheepshead Bay itself, though, is 40% of the community has at least a bachelor's degree, and 60% are above the age of 35, mostly families, and a pretty solid aging community. Split when it comes to sex, 52% female, 48% male. And this should be interesting. The median income is $56,000, but a 3-bedroom detached home goes for approximately $800,000. That $800,000 equates to something like a $4,500 per month mortgage, so the math certainly doesn't add up. Mixed religions, but mostly Jewish, Catholic, and Eastern Orthodox, with a small concentration of Muslims in some parts of the neighborhood. It is 66% white, with many Russian immigrants. The majority of that, 66%, I would say, in this community are Russian immigrants, and 20% Asian, mostly Chinese. But since we are pulling from all other neighborhoods, it's important to note where we are located in Brooklyn. So here is Sheepshead Bay. Over here would be Manhattan, right? Over here would be Staten Island, all right? And over here is going to be Queens. So we do pull from some areas of Queens because of our location. There's a bridge right over here that connects the two. But Marine Park and Gerritsen Beach are two of our major feeder communities, as well as Bensonhurst and Gravesend. And we've been seeing more and more kids coming in from Flatlands, Bergen Beach, and Canarsie. And these areas are all of mixed demographics, though over here, these two, Bensonhurst, Bath Beach, Gravesend, are mostly white and Chinese. And over here, we have predominantly white communities, whereas over here, Canarsie, Flatlands, this is where our Caribbean communities are coming from. That being said, there are kids from all over Brooklyn that come to our school. Knowing our communication channels, since we are living in a major city, for the most part, you're not going to hear about our school on the major news channels. So New York 1, Brooklyn News 12, Catholic Channel on cable, sometimes they will cover St. Edmund events. We, though, are pretty much the masters of our own communication through social media. We also implement the One Call Now system in case of an emergency and in order to get in touch with the community. Down here, just some of our hashtags and where you can add us, right? St. Edmund Prep. But we are very active through social media, and we think that that's where most of our stakeholders are getting their information about us. Again, our community groups don't have a massive impact on the school just because we are private. Community Board 15, a couple of the civic associations for the different neighborhoods, they're not as involved, but we know that they exist, and we do deal with them if we ever need to get permits of any sort. Our elected officials sometimes give us grants. The NYPD does have some police officers come by if necessary, as well as, just to have familiar NYPD faces. The Diocese of Brooklyn, we are a privately running school, so the Diocese does not run our school. That being said, we do have a relationship with them, as well as the neighboring Catholic elementary schools, and the Principal Association meets pretty often, so that all of the schools can support each other in growth. Leadership of our school, well, we have our Board of Trustees, who they meet once a month. The diocese, so the pastor of our church, St. Edmund Parish, is on the Board of Trustees, and while the diocese does not have any controlling interest in our school, they are very much it's good to be on their good side. The principal really makes almost every decision in terms of operating. And then there are some important parents who are the ones who kind of lead the charge when it comes to fundraising efforts and getting other people on board. A couple of things about the community leaders' characteristics. Board is largely absent from day-to-day administration, and the diocese is only a weak affiliation. All board or diocese concerns go through the administration. However, if the diocese is happy with us, it's evident in our applications. When the diocese is happy with what is going on in our schools, that is when we see more and more schools reaching out to us for buddy days or admission events. So it's good to be on their good side, even if they are not controlling what is going on in our building. Economic conditions. This has been our biggest concern. Our Catholic school charges $10,995 a year, which definitely feels like a whole lot of money. It is a whole lot of money. Yet we are the lowest local Catholic school tuition. Private schools near us, or prep schools that are local, cost upwards of $30,000 per year. However, because of the property values that I mentioned in earlier slides, this is becoming something that people are giving up. Tuition-based schools are suffering, and instead choosing public schools or tuition-free charter schools. Hard to blame them because the prices really are high. Our political structure. Mostly we are able to keep politics and education separate, except when it comes to our region exams. If we don't offer them, we don't get certain state funding, and since it's the only funding we get from the state, it's necessary for us. Occasionally receive grants from local elected officials if they have extra money set aside. Social tensions. Again, we're here in Brooklyn. It's a very diverse community, many different religions, and there is racial tension from time to time. Cliques are evident in the cafeteria, and a lot of those cliques are drawn on racial lines. I don't see discrimination in the school itself, but they are definitely experiencing discrimination in different ways outside of the building, so it's important for us to be very sensitive to that. And again, this comes from inequity in terms of economics. This is coming from a misunderstanding of each other's cultures, so it is important for us to help them with that and help them understand that and help them fight through it, and I think that we're pretty good at that. As for extra sources of information about our school website is the biggest, school social media after that, and then our open houses. A little bit more about the power structure. So I mentioned the Board of Trustees and the diocese before. Again, diocese is a loose affiliation. However, our local parish priest is on the Board of Trustees, so it is connected. We share a property with the local parish, so we are always working with them. And then it's our administration. The administration is led by our principal, followed by our 2 assistant principals and our dean of students. After the dean of students comes middle management, so our director of admissions. In one regard, the IB coordinator, me. In another, department chair people, also me and 2 others, and the directors of development and guidance. Multicultural issues. We pride ourselves in being a global school. We do our best to embrace all student customs, but you do have to be consistent with the uniform. However, if a student has religious or cultural reasons for wearing their uniform differently, we are okay with that. We do wear uniforms, though we also have frequent dress down days that revolve around either school spirit or giving or charity. So today was our Halloween All Hallows Giving Day, and here I am. I got to work at Hogwarts, and that made me very happy. Knowing the power structure. Administration has a good hold on the board. The board allows administration to make almost all decisions for the school, and they usually agree with those choices. All other affiliations are loose and really don't have much of a say on what we're doing within the building. Measuring public opinion. Once here, parents and community members love the school. They do. It's just getting them in the door. Increased visibility in more Brooklyn communities can increase positive opinions. So we do look into outreach events and service projects outside of the building and in communities where we don't have high enrollment. We have recently hired a marketing research company, and they have put out surveys for us. We've also done online questionnaires, phone campaigns, and surveys at or after events in order to gain a better idea of what is making our community happy. And we also do personal interviews of student and faculty during IB and middle states evaluation years. Okay, that sums everything up. I hope you found this useful, and I hope you found it informational. I thank you so much for your time.